the new Parkway Theater, where good food, diverse entertainment, and community create a place for everyone. For showtimes and special events, check out www.thenewparkway.com.
You are listening to High School 510, where sports is the plane, comedy is the pilot, and the sweet cheaper is our jet fuel. Please sit back and enjoy the ride.
No, my Cutty Corner shout out goes out to Herschel Walker, a positive one. He also gave me this gem. When prompted about him being called a coon in public, he had this to say.
They called me a coon the other day, and people think that is a bad term. That's the guys on front of the country. If you know anything about a coon, he's one of the smartest animals out there.
Oh my God. Like I said, I kept coon from coming in that front door.
Hey man, he's trying to. Hey man,
I wasn't Jerry Jones and his friend at a school in Georgia. That's what they needed to be.
All right, well, let's get to it. Y'all ready to start the show?
Yeah, I'm ready. I don't know what the fuck Pedro had.
Pedro.
Is that commercial, by the way?
Yeah, it's commercial. If you didn't know, Cowboys game was commercial, so now I can focus on this. Anyways, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the High Score 510 podcast. You can catch us at High Score 510 on the Instagram, the YouTube, and the Twitter. Also, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/High Score 510. We love any support you would love to donate to the show or become a monthly subscriber. Shout out sponsorship. And we are here with...
This is AG3. I'm not coming faster to anything right now. I'm tired. It's been awake. Had to work at 4 this morning. I mean, I know I woke up at 4. Had to go to work after that. Covering all these damn World Cup games. That was my last one. I was thinking about signing up to cover some more, but that's over and done. The hell with that. Tired.
Here's your soundbite.
Well, back in kickboxing, back in the day when I was an amateur, when I was really young and I didn't have the fight dietitian, who's the guy that looks after us here with my meals and whatnot. I did not have him on deck. I wasn't in the UFC. Fuck, man. Okay, how do I put the, I busted a nut to make weight.
Man, Jerry, only you would find that shit funny, man, about here. I don't want to hear about no man busting a nut. And one, right. And I'm sure, what was he, but were they weighing ounces then too?
Yeah, they go by ounces. It goes by, he must have
go by no
substantial
motherfucking ounces, dude. They don't go by no motherfucking ounces.
Yeah, they do. They measure by ounce. What are the breakdowns? The after pounds, it's pounds, it's ounces, man. Grams, and
they
ounces.
They don't even do pounds because he was talking about being an amateur kickboxer, probably in whatever fucking country he's in.
Maybe he's like a tantric masturbator or something like that. So he gets into a groove. He gets into a nice lather, so he'd be there for 3 hours. Like give me an hour. He's like, you got 1 hour. And he's sitting there sweating off beads. That sweat loss there, and then the finish. That could have been like.
Give me this shitty ass soundbite. I've been working my ass off this week, burning the candle bells in. You give me this shitty ass soundbite.
Shout out to Israel Adesanya making weight, man. That's how you do what you got to do while you trying to holler at Taylor Rooks.
Yeah, shout out to Israel Adesanya, whatever fucking name is, for not understanding that. Even when he was young, being too stupid to realize you don't nut out pounds.
See, these men nuts busy. See, they got to keep their nuts busy.
And we are here with
everybody's favorite truck driver, Captain P-Funk. I am being Mr. Mom right now because I ain't got no woman around here to do all this dirty work.
Well, here's your soundbite, Mr. Mom.
Do you know we're the greatest country in the United States in the world because we have the United States military?
This man a new kind of ignorant. Even the slaves weren't this ignorant. They weren't given education. They weren't this ignorant.
We hoping that everyone votes this week.
Georgia, Georgia, I'm gonna need you to vote.
I'm hoping that, how they used to have the literacy test to vote? They need to have it to run for shit.
They should. I agree. I do somewhat agree on that one. And we are here with
Hey, what's going on? This is Brandon, aka Taco Pablo. Happy to be here. Seems like we started talking sports early, so I don't expect to say anything else about any major sport link for the rest of the show.
Rest of your day.
Thank you for letting me get that in early.
You're welcome, Brandon. You are welcome.
Or should I say thank you to the Cowboys?
Oh, you know what? We need to thank the Cowboys for a lot of different things. That beautiful man, Jerry Jones.
There's theory floating out that they kept the Cowboys Colts game on for Sunday night to cover up the whole Deshaun Watson situation this afternoon. It's like, hey man, whatever happens, everybody's gonna be watching the Cowboys.
That could be true. That could be true. Here's your soundbite.
I could give a fuck how big the big is, how far the is. She out of pocket. If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying? If Jesus can't save these hoes, why are you trying?
Glad that still lives on the internet.
And my name is Jared, aka DJ Art, with two T's for a double dose of that tink tink. The D is silent, so it's just chart.
I've noticed black people have the genius to put the curse word after they say the race of the person. Where white dudes, we always put it in front. And if we would just make that little adjustment, we could save so many careers. So many jobs could be saved in the white community if we would just put it after. You never notice that in conversation? You hear a black guy being like, man, I was standing there, this Asian motherfucker came in, he starts talking about, you don't even hear it. You're just sitting there, oh, what did this Asian motherfucker do? I would love to hear the rest of this story, right? Dude, I would tell the exact same story, right? I'm standing there, right? This fucking Asian comes in, right? Everybody's like, oh, hey, easy, Jesus, dude. What year is it, you know?
Bill Burr's hilarious, man.
Yeah, shout out to Bill Burr. He had another clip that was actually pretty hilarious, Aaron. It made me think of you. I was like, man, Aaron would have a good buddy to watch Anton Fisher with.
Oh, I saw that clip.
One time my wife was on the plane with me and we were going somewhere far, so she had like a tablet, and I started watching a movie and she had fallen asleep, and I was watching a movie and I was laughing so hard I woke her up. And then she, you know, when you don't know what somebody's laughing at and you just start laughing, she's like, what are you laughing at? And I was trying to hide it. And she looked and I was watching Precious. I don't know if
Oh my God!
Oh my God! It was literally, oh my God. Some shit, it just gets so mean. It's just so mean. It pushes through into comedy again. The mother said something so fucking mean, and then they just cut to her face, and she was so sad. I'm not going to lie. I'm being honest. I was wheezing. I was literally like laying in the...
Yeah, me and him could watch Antoine Fisher together for sure.
Yep, Anton Fisher, my boy. Well,
that shit made me laugh, dude. Yeah,
it is sad. It was definitely a sad movie. I didn't even see all of it. It was sad.
Definitely a funny movie too.
All right, let's get to some news. In news this week, a German study found that cows fed with industrial hemp produce milk with THC. What do you guys think about that?
So do bitches.
Titty residue.
I think that's BS there, because ain't nobody feeding no cow no leaf. They still got hemp crystals and THC crystals on it. You know that's true. The Germans will feed it. The Germans would do something like that. Feed the cows the weed plant that still got crystals and THC. Out here, man, every brother would have that plant ripped up and rolled into a fucking backwood before the cow get to it.
It's hemp. It's hemp. It's not marijuana. It's hemp.
It's hemp.
Which is a relative.
It
does have some trace amounts in other cannabinoids. It does not have a large amount that's worth smoking, but it is in it. And so
it doesn't have a large amount worth doing anything elsewhere.
Well, when you feed it to cows, apparently they metabolize it and it ends up concentrating certain levels of THC in the milk. That's science, man. You can't argue with science.
So does that mean the cows are high because they eat the hemp?
Well, yeah, they say so. Unlike marijuana, hemp for industrial purposes, like cow feed as like a filler or a cheap substitute for different feeds, is legal as long as it has a limited THC content in both Europe and the US. The THC limit is usually at 0.2%, which was raised to 0.3% in 2021. But they did say that cows who were exposed to the hemp did show signs of behavioral differences. They said when cows ate rich THC silage, researchers observed a change in animal behavior such as pronounced tongue play, increased yawning, salivation, nasal secretion formation, prolapse, and reddening of the nictitating membrane. That's like a part of the eyelid, apparently. And somnolent appearance, which means tired appearance.
Wait,
so
do you know what propylase is? That's crazy. They're doing that.
Prolapse.
You know what that is?
No, what's prolapse? Will the booty hole come out?
That's basically you almost making a flower out your booty hole.
Oh yeah, that's
pushing out so hard that it comes out. It comes out of the hole.
Hey, these categories, man.
I'm just saying that's what they observed, and then they said they were able to record.
Who was looking so hard to find the prolapse?
Cows prolapse. I've seen cows prolapse driving through Kentucky, not Kentucky, but Kansas. Go through the Hatter, Texas, and southern Kansas. That's all you see.
After hearing that, I don't believe you believe in regular sex. I think you like prolapsing.
Come on.
I think you just been hiding. You hide behind regular sex. You like those preachers who are gay, but they hide behind with the anti-gay rhetoric.
Those were not anti-gay remarks. Those are anti-LGBTQ remarks that I make because they are political terrorists. They are probably the closest things to the Ku Klux Klan in the modern political era.
You like that, man? Hey, man, regular sex, and then you out here paying hookers just to prolapse in front of you.
Come on.
I just want to see that rose. That's all I'm gonna do.
I like booty.
Some of that rose, baby. I give you extra 20 if you make it look like a tulip.
I am what I am. I'm a warrior too.
Would you guys, they're making like cereals that can use orange juice, cereals that can go with water now. How do you guys feel about different milks, hemp milks coming out that might give you a little buzz? Would you guys try it?
I'm Christian, so I'm not trying anything with these.
No, I ain't trying that shit either, Jared.
No, how far away are we where churches have their own dispensaries attached to the building?
When they see how much money it can bring in, especially if they got an older crowd that might need some, tinctures and some gummies.
Oh yeah, man! Just wait, somebody be preaching about how it helped their healing or whatnot, man. They're gonna have dispensaries there. Got tax breaks, man. They're gonna figure out a way. I'm saying we're 18 months away from the first. You'll see it in the news. The first church.
Damn, only 18 months, Brandon. Shit.
It's gonna happen quick, man.
That's tight. Hey, we should patent that idea and start selling it around to people, Brandon. Dude, I'm telling you, and that could be a boon to the entire economy of the neighborhood. Because with the tax exemptions of being a church, you can really make some hay there, and you can actually shape your community potentially. Instead of all these liquor stores in the neighborhood, we're gonna have our own cannabis dispensary and church that will then help, reinvest in the communities.
I'm surprised that pastor in Harlem driving a Maserati ain't done it yet.
His church ain't big enough for that.
Like, was he choking the parishioners at church?
It did say that the cows ingested 86 times the amount of THC required to get humans to experience the psychotropic effects.
Come on, man. There you go, right there.
Well, it was eating, because you know how much they can eat. They eat so much
they
seed
just
that
kept eating.
Yeah, so I'm sure if you had as much of the hemp feed and you were able to distill it correctly that they had, you could probably you garner some THC off it that would be dosable amounts. But they said the cow's milk did contain high concentrations of THC and CBD and other cannabinoids, but not enough to measure them yet. But they said also the symptoms subsided a few days after they were stopped giving that feed. So they were high for a few days, you know what I'm saying?
You ain't smell no weed on me, did you?
In other news, Palmer Luckey, the man who created the Oculus Rift, announced that he had invented a VR headset that kills the user if they die in the game. What do you guys think about that?
Shit, they might as well go ahead and select it. He should be the first one to try it. And how we know it really worked? Who tried it?
Here, I'll share an image of it. He said that he affixed 3 explosive devices to the front, where if triggered by a certain end of game sequence would set the explosives off, destroying the person's frontal lobe, basically blowing your goddamn face off.
Why the hell would someone want to why would he invent this?
Y'all ain't trying to play no VR with ultimate consequences?
I don't like playing VR, period, because I don't like sweating when playing video games. I'll sweat at the gym.
All right. So here's my only take back on this. If you an adult and you put on that thing, you say, all right, cool, I'm willing to die for this Call of Duty match right now. That's on you, right? But at the same time, I've played enough games where the game cheats sometimes. And I hate to risk my life on, hey man, this other person on the other end of this.
There's also a thing called glitches. It's
also another thing called Jared's internet.
Yeah, it's my internet.
Exactly.
You don't
also a thing called cheaters and boosters.
Dude's
anyway.
a serial killer, man. He's got a boosted router. He's over here. He's playing with a CPU, not a PlayStation 5, man. That's messed up.
Palmer Luckey, the founder of it, sold the Oculus in 2014 for $2 billion to Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, which is the basis for the Meta world or Meta. But he said he was inspired by a Japanese anime cartoon, I believe.
Sword Art Online.
What is it called again?
Sword Art Online.
Yeah, Sword Art Online, where in the game, players would play online and it would do some kind of like microwave radioactive shit would fry your brain if you lost online. It would kill you. And he said the explosives were easier to do and more tangible because he didn't know how to. He's like, you'd have to be hooked up to some big ass power generator or, getting something in there that could emit enough radio frequency or microwave frequency to kill you was
one more
too hard.
time. Isn't this shit illegal? He built an explosive device. I can't build one in my house. Even if I say, hey man, I just built this shit so in case a dog shit on my lawn. No, man, you can't do that. Isn't this shit illegal?
That's the question. That's the question we gotta get to the root of, man. He's literally telling you, I make bombs at my house, and you're like, all right, let's write an article about this guy. Let's see if there's a market for it.
He basically is also an engineer or something like that for defense contracts. He's that company that has defense contracts with the U.S. military. So he's into this kind of shit. I think he's into the anime shit. He's into weaponry, and he created VR. It's just part of his little thing, I guess. I don't know. In other news, Elon Musk says the brain chip Neuralink is set to begin human trials in the next 6 months.
Oh, fuck.
Whoa. I'm not going anywhere.
Simon says you gotta go.
I'm not jumping through hoops for some psycho. That's a white man with white problems. You deal with it. Call me when he crosses 110th Street.
Fuck.
What do you guys think about that?
Brandon, please say something.
I'm very unfamiliar with this. I've sworn off Elon Musk for 2022. But if you want to talk to me about this 2023, I'll be happy to circle back in the new year about Mr. Elon Musk.
Well, he did say Neuralink, the goal of Neuralink, what they're saying, and they've been testing it on animals.
Wait, who ran a daycare?
Pedro.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, anybody that puts this in their brain probably gonna run out in front of a fire truck, police car, or any other safety vehicle that's out on the street.
I think they already human tested it when Martin Lawrence was out there directing traffic in LA.
Nah, man, have you not seen Kanye West the last 3 months?
The early stage prototype. Kanye West got one. According to Musk, Neuralink says it's developing brain chip interfaces that could restore a person's vision, even to those who are born blind, potentially restore full body functionality, including movement and verbal communication for people with severed spinal cords, is what they are hoping it could turn into. It could be something that could really increase the quality of life for people also. So, there's some good out of coming out of it, right?
So one chip could do all this shit with different functions of the body. How can you restore a person's vision if they were born blind? You can't restore something that was never there. That's like, oh man, Aaron, we're gonna restore those $1 billion you had, even though you was never a billionaire.
I would, if Elon would like to do that for Brandon, please let me know.
Other than potentially walking into traffic and killing yourself, what are some of the other things you worry about Neuralink going wrong if they especially rush it to human trials?
I mean, everything. If he tests this and, like he says, has trials just like he did the Tesla. That's why Pedro said that everybody's fucking in trouble. I might get one and just catch on fire while sitting in my room watching Good Times.
Man, I see this happening like in whatchamacallit, what is it? Venom, with that dude who was basically supposed to be like an Indian Elon Musk. It was like, oh yeah, got all these homeless people, and we just gonna start.
According to Nithin, he was a Pakistani Elon Musk. According to Nithin,
maybe they can get him. Maybe they can get him the killer VR Neuralink, and if he does something that pisses off the system,
can we give Elon Musk that headset? Put him and Zuckerberg in one, man.
He might have it already installed through these silly ass decisions he's making right now.
He did say he was planning to have one himself, that he would be one of the first people to do it.
Can they give him a Neuralink to make sure his chest and stomach ain't pasty white anymore?
I will invite Elon Musk to do something that would be really helpful to most people. And I need you to get into the office printer space and copy machine space. That'd be really helpful if you get that to work for somebody. If you can fix that industry, I will put a Neuralink in my entire family.
Damn. Hey man, you might not need a Neuralink. You just copy things, images, save files to your head. This is like the first step towards that Black Mirror shit, and I'm a little bit worried about that. It's gonna put us on a whole nother plane of humanity, which could be detrimental to our biological, our Christian fundamentals. That's why I know Pedro won't do it. We gonna get too far. We start turning into goddamn cyborgs and shit.
The devil's a liar.
The World Cup is in the round of 16, the elimination stage, and the United States has made it. Unfortunately, they lost.
God damn it! We lost. We fucking super lost, man.
They got their asses handed to them.
Who didn't see that coming?
The Netherlanders. Have y'all been watching the World Cup? And what are your initial thoughts about the World Cup so far being held in the winter?
No, you asking the wrong questions, Jared. You should be asking, what do you think about the World Cup being held in Qatar?
In Qatar.
It's Qatar.
It's Qatar. They said you can pronounce it any way you like, as long as they money keep flowing in.
Exactly. And they money flowing in, and we use cheap labor and kill them.
Well, this week, a high official did come out and admit that there were about 400 to 500 immigrant lives that were lost in the construction of the parks and the
man, that's a low ass number, man. I think he lied. We all know he lied. Remember, Vice News did their story 2 or 3 years ago. Or it was before the pandemic, when Vice News did that expose. They were already, I think, at 400 or 500 people died, dude. Remember, they weren't shipping them back in time for the funerals. Families crying in Bangladesh and Nepal and shit, in Pakistan and India.
Blood money.
Well, now that we can feel confident that only 400 to 500 people died in total, so it's in the 2 years they fixed all the problems. Instead of the 12 to 1,500 or up to over 1,000 that was projected by other human rights groups, apparently. Brandon, can you look that up? The human rights groups projections of how many people died building the stadium. Pedro got a whole goddamn sitcom going on in his background, bro. You got doorbells.
Oh, you heard the doorbell?
Yeah, you might need to turn on your noise cancellation, nigga.
You heard
this whole episode, Pedro's like, see, I got to turn off noise cancellation so you can hear me. Now we can hear every goddamn thing happening in that house.
But it's good, the good ambient noise. So if you listen to this podcast with a Bose,
doorbell,
you're getting everything. You're getting kids, you're getting black women yelling, you geting.
I heard her yelling too at one point.
You're getting.
I was trying to
coming to the front door talking about who used the grease on the stove. You're getting all that.
Man, who used that leftover fish grease? I told you I was frying up bologna with it.
Go ahead, Brandon. How many people died? What are the projections?
He didn't give an exact number, but he estimated between 400 and 500 deaths surrounding the building of this World Cup. Per the AP report from 2014 and 2021, the total number of deaths were 40, and they were considered non-work incidents such as heart attacks.
Man, that's not. Who cares? He was standing out in that 120-degree weather, making a rock garden and planting trees and watering trees. He had a heart attack. That had nothing to do with work.
So at least 400, probably closer to 500 with the 40 added on that.
Let me add one more thing. Another report that is saying the number is closer to about 6,000 people who have either died of heat stroke, died actually trying to build this thing. And that's from 2010 to 2020. Like they've been building on this thing for a while. And that's just number of migrant workers have working in Qatar to build, number one, things around the city, but also adding in the number for the people in the World Cup. So people coming from all over the world to come work in Qatar to make some money for their families have died. Yeah, man, ain't no joke.
Damn, man. Damn. See, I told you, man, this shit is all the corruption that got the game in Qatar has been crazy. Remember that basically for them to get the game in Qatar brought down a lot of big name people. There's actually a documentary on Netflix right now, isn't it? Or Amazon? Where Step Bladder and all of them and how they that big sting happened and how they all got arrested because of all the corruption and the money they took to put the game there, which was ridiculous. I mean, the money they took to put it in Brazil and Russia was ridiculous.
Is there anything else you guys noticed? I saw there was a thread about fake fans.
Oh yeah, that is
to start
true.
the World Cup. That was pretty fun to see. People who did not look like any of the nation's origins. Hold on, I got a little video here. I'll share with you.
Show the video. You gotta watch this, Pedro. You gotta watch
the lead up to the game. We're getting the hype.
Oh, they're still in the stadiums there.
Here's the Argentinian fans.
Look what they look like, Pedro. Come on, man. Even the music don't say music, man. They're playing. They feel like
Come on, man. That's hilarious.
Argentina is probably the whitest Latin country I ever
saw. They got a bunch of Indian and Pakistani.
Play another one.
Here's another one. Let's see.
Come on. Is that for real?
This is Morocco. No, Portugal.
Morocco?
This is Portugal.
Portugal.
Yeah, this is Portugal. See what we can see here. It looks pretty normal. Oh, hold on. Over here on the right, there's a lot.
Come on, man.
Portugal's a little harder to tell because it's a little more of a brown place.
It's a brown place. That was part of it. It still didn't look right.
Let's see this next team.
Wait. They supposed to be Brazilian. Come on, dude.
They're Brazilian. All the Brazilians look like they got a 7-Eleven open up around the corner.
Come on. That is crazy.
Come
on, man.
I was just about to turn on my camera again, and Pedro got to say stuff like that.
They paid these fans. Come on, it's Indian dude. They paid these Indian people to come in and act like fans, man.
Come on, this is outrageous. You know what Brazilian people actually look like? Come on, look. Zoom in on that.
Wait, hold on. Thought I just saw Nathan in there.
Nathan didn't go to Arizona. He even in Qatar.
This he got paid. Come on, the Spanish team. The Spanish. Germany. It's the same people. Same people. Oh man, this is crazy.
This is outrageous.
This is why you don't host the game in Qatar. This is why. It's coming home,
The England fans.
England fans, come on.
Somebody got a 7-Eleven jersey on.
It's a cyclist.
What I tell you? Brandon? What I tell you?
7-Eleven jersey on. Wow. Dry fit 7-Eleven.
Brandon.
Yeah,
there's not one dude in there clean shaven.
Those dudes had beards since they were 12, Pedro.
Those fans.
Those were the Indian dudes.
Outrageous,
that was the Indian dude that I went to high school with that all the kids used to give the money to buy the beer.
Fake fans took over. Fake fans took over. That's what we can get from this World Cup. LeBron James had this to say about the whole Jerry Jones photo debacle.
I was wondering why I haven't gotten a question from you guys about the Jerry Jones photo. But when the Kyrie thing was going on, you guys were quick to ask us questions about that.
Okay.
Hold on. And I don't even want you guys to say nothing. When I watched Kyrie talk and he says, I know who I am, but I want to keep the same energy when we're talking about my people and the things that we've been through. And that Jerry Jones photo is one of those moments that our people, black people, have been through in America. As a black man, as a black athlete, as someone with power and a platform, when we do something wrong or something that people don't agree with, it's on every single tabloid, every single news coverage. It's on the bottom ticker. It's asked about every single day. But it seems like to me that the whole Jerry Jones situation photo, and I know it was years and years ago and we all make mistakes, I get it. But it seemed like it's just been buried under like, oh, it happened. Okay, we just move on. And I was just kind of disappointed that I haven't received that question from you guys.
A photo was released of Jerry Jones from 60 years ago at a Arkansas high school with segregationists, like they call them, or racists, who were confronting black students trying to desegregate the school. Jerry Jones was a few rows back, peering mischievously, maybe, or inquisitively into the confrontation certain white students were having with black students trying to enter the school. What do you guys think about what LeBron James had to say in the whole situation?
I'm going to start here with LeBron James. He wants to know how come no one brought that up to him. Because you don't play fucking football. You play basketball. That's why they ask you things. You play with Kyrie Irving. You're the now godfather of the league. You're the one people go to when about people's behavior, about people's things. It's like when people used to say Shaq used to be the godfather. Oh, man, you go to everything, go to Shaq. He knows people talk to him. People call him on the weekend all the time. Guess what? I don't call Jared when I want to know, hey, man, why Jerry Jones on that photo? Yeah, he a Cowboy fan. Man, he don't know shit about what
Jerry Jones is a terrible human being. I've been saying it for a while now.
I know. I get he is right about some things, especially with African Americans and the media and being blown out of proportion. He is right about those things. But they went to him for Kyrie because he used to be his teammate, tried to trade for him this year, and it's the same goddamn sport. As far as the photos, Jerry Jones, I mean, it's funny. I mean, I don't care. I mean, he's behind the people with the cameras in the picture. He ain't front row. He might agree with the people when they walked him back. I don't know. Who the fuck know, man? That photo's what, 60 years old?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think it only proves that Jerry Jones was alive back then.
That's what it proves.
And he lived in Arkansas.
Yeah, if you look at the people in the front row, those people there to do damage and keep those motherfuckers. They're the reason why the police have to come and open up the crowd to get them into school. Jerry Jones was not where those people are.
There's a high schooler with a cigarette in his mouth looking like he's ready to hurt somebody.
Some people say that dude wasn't even in high school. And that's some of the people in the front weren't even in school anymore. They were there just to keep black kids.
Yeah, if you actually look at that photo, Jerry Jones is not doing anything wrong either. He was kind of surprised how fast those two Negroes got up to the steps. Wow.
Exactly. He started his recruitment then. He started his recruitment then.
You see, there's no malice in his face. He's actually like a goofy, curious kid.
Exactly. Worse than this photo is the fact that Jerry Jones has never hired a African-American head coach. That's what's worse than this photo.
Yeah. Somebody said this. Now, Jerry Jones' father, they own a grocery store, I guess, in that community, and they were the only white family who would allow Negroes to shop.
Shop in the store, yes. And it was in the white community.
I really don't. I think he believes white people are superior. I do believe that he thinks that, but he has no malice against Negro.
I mean, if you listen to some of them some of the black people in the meeting I was in this week, I started believing it.
Always trying to shut the white man down.
I'm trying to say a couple things. One, I agree with LeBron, James. And actually, I agree with you too. So I actually agree with both. I think what LeBron's saying is we, as in athletes and players, he's not saying y'all just ask me. He's saying us, right?
Yeah.
So I think in that moment, he's representing black athletes. So it may be less about him as a basketball player, more about him as a black athlete.
Yeah,
and that I agree with. But also,
and him being a Cowboy fan.
Maybe. But I think mostly to Aaron's point, it's like why the fuck you asking a basketball player? But I think
they've been in photos. Like they've hung out before. They've been in photos.
He's been in the booth. He's been in Jerry Jones'
He's been in the booth before. He's got a bunch of.
He's got a past relationship with Jerry Jones, so for him to not be asked about it is, I can see why
that's why he was getting upset. But
that makes sense. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I think two. I will say this. Two. In total, a lot of motherfucking media needs to start actually reflecting on like what's going on with the white community and stop always just reporting on the one or two black athletes that like get into some type of like social drama, because we still haven't talked about Brett Favre. You know, like that like really went under the rug, and like he's like the top 5 quarterbacks in the league of all time. Like Jerry Jones isn't the top 5 owner, but Brett Favre is definitely top 5 quarterback of all time. So I just it seems a little fishy to me, and so I agree with LeBron. And then 3, I can't wait for these photos just like this to come out in like 2070 when you see Jared at the MAGA rally in the background.
I think LeBron has a right to say that, coming where he's from. There's reasons for them not to ask him about it, like you brought up, Aaron, but also like what Adarius said, it's like he is a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's talked about wanting to play football. If he would play football, he'd be a Cowboys fan. He's been.
Well, he said he wasn't a Cowboy fan about a month ago.
Hey, man. Those not qualifiers to ask him a question about that. A lot of people say they want to play for Cowboys.
Hold on.
LeBron is not a black historian.
For all the reasons that you brought up of why they didn't ask him, I'm just bringing up the counterpoints of why they should have, or probably what would be a reason for them to. That's.
I'm happy they didn't. He don't represent me on black historian.
Anyways,
and black theology.
I'm not even. I don't know if he's talking about theology right there, but
I'm just saying him, Questlove. We need to stop making them our spokespeople. Right?
Yeah.
That's the big
Questlove
problem.
our spokesperson.
Man, Questlove did that. Man, Questlove.
What are you talking about?
Because Questlove this week. Okay, do you know who the inventor of the first game console is?
Yeah,
I forgot his name.
Google. Yeah, something like Larry Jenkins or something.
Whatever the fuck his name is, right? So
know
Questlove. So there's also another guy that has the same name that was a singer with some group back in the day, right? Persuasions or something. Questlove posts a picture of the Persuasion dude. Posted several pictures of him, and then starts talking about whatever the fucking Google Doodle said, right? And then people called him out on it. He goes, oh shit. And people started calling him out on other things that he always posts and this and that. And he's like, man, I learned more in the last 24 hours than I ever learned. Look, man, ain't nothing wrong with education. Ain't nothing wrong with, I'm not saying a strict like school-based education, but really educate yourself. LeBron seems like he's the king of reading the first page of books or holding a book in his hand and being open. There's other people around. There's great black historians like John Henry Clark, who passed away. There's great black historians out there who we could go to for that.
Yeah, if you
and those are the people I want to
historian.
hear. I don't want to hear Questlove. I don't want to hear LeBron. I want to hear these people that really know what the fuck they talking about.
No, I was saying, if you want to go to an athlete historian, you go to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah, exactly.
He reads.
He actually really reads.
He reads and he knows a lot. That's who you go to. And he's studying across the board. I wish we had the great minister Reggie White, because he was really studying before.
Come on, dude.
No lie.
I believe that one of the reasons that Jesus was accused of being a homosexual is because he spent time with homosexuals. If you go to Japan or any Asian country, they can turn a television into a watch.
No, I know with the jokes or whatever, but he went over there. He was studying Hebrew. He was actually doing what black people need to do.
No, I'm fine with like him questioning
instead of going on the internet.
I just don't know why he's like
Kyrie
ass me, because you ain't their voice, man. He shouldn't be our voice. He's a bad voice.
But he's also asked a lot of questions about other issues.
He's not even educated.
No, he speaks on other issues. He's not asking.
Yeah, he's not educated. He's not a scholar either.
He's not, and it just makes us look bad, man. Go to Kareem. There's a reason why Muhammad Ali had a fucking teenage Kareem sitting next to him at the Cleveland conference when he made his announcement how he was going to be a conscientious objector and he was not going to serve and be drafted and serve in Vietnam. He had a teenage Kareem Abdul-Jabbar known as Louis Sender then. He had Bill Russell next to him. He had Jim Brown. He had some heavy hitters. Those dudes were educated. They educated themselves. It wasn't about being seen and taking a picture for Instagram of me holding and reading the first page of Malcolm X by autobiography. It was about really knowing the shit. It's about really being part of a cause, is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to disrespect LeBron. I'm not trying to disrespect Kyrie or anybody else.
You sound like you got a grudge against
them. They're welcome to have their own opinions. I don't have a grudge. What I'm telling you is that we have black athletes who are really on top. Ethan Thomas. Go to Ethan Thomas. Ethan Thomas, he's younger. He's well super educated.
It's pronounced Eton Thomas.
Whatever the fuck you want to pronounce it, go to him before I go to LeBron. It's not about how many followers you have. It's about who really can speak and be that spokesperson or can be a mouthpiece and who has the knowledge of it, right? Who has the background of it, not just shit they read on the first page or shit they read on Twitter or shit they read on the blog real quick. Someone who's really done some real educated research behind things. Yeah, like when I go into things, I like to have my knowledge behind it. I like to look up several things about it, not just front page. That's why when you ask me, I say, hey man, I didn't read that shit yet. When I do, you know I do, because I'm going to read that. I'm going to read some articles about it. I'm going to go to this. I'm going to go to some primary resources.
Sound like Aaron out here representing for Emmanuel Cho or something. I don't know what you talking about.
Oh, you talking about the Outro Brothers? I'm over here smelling like them too.
Yeah, they have a show. Well, the Emmanuel had a show called Ask a Black Dude where he would confront these white topics with white people and let them ask him questions. Yeah, you should watch it. He's like the woke NFL player. It sounds like that's what you want. Yeah.
Nah, not all the time. Sometimes he be saying some stupid shit too. Everybody says stupid shit. Don't get me wrong. Kareem's probably said something stupid in there too. But I'm just saying, when an athlete really dedicates their time, a former athlete dedicates their time and life. There are people who really dedicate their life to things. Kareem didn't go to the Olympics he was supposed to go to. He was the one standing next to Harry Edwards. It was actually his idea and talked to Harry Edwards about making the boycott, the black boycott of the Mexico Olympics. LeBron is a great figurehead because he has all the following. He has the cameras on him. He has that. I understand why he's saying. And I like I said, I'm by him calling out the double standard. I agree with him calling out the double standard. But he has to understand that he needs to, if he's really going to be a real leader, he has to understand that, dude, I need other people I need to go ahead and direct them to the people who have a background on this, right? What was that? Some reporter called him out the other day when he posted something on his show or talked about a movie, and then they asked him about it, or a book, and they asked about it, and he couldn't answer shit about it. And you're like, damn, he didn't read that shit. He acted like he read it, but he didn't.
I saw that clip. That clip was bad, Aaron. And they were like, LeBron, so how do you feel about this author? He was like, oh, he's great.
LeBron's the king of cap. Yeah, he don't read books. He don't watch movies he said he watched.
This is the difference about the society.
But I don't want to. The thing is, I don't want to get to like see, this is part of you guys internalizing white supremacy. You guys are going every. Well, hold on. There you go. Because you talked a lot. I'm saying.
I want to hear this. I want to hear what the hell you got to say.
You guys over here, going at the messenger about what the message is. And I think LeBron's overall message is that there's a responsibility on the media, whether or not who they should be asking all the time. That's another layer of what media should be asking and who they should be asking and what they should be paying attention to or what they're paid to pay attention to. But he's talking about the root of you guys are crafting your stories, your headlines, and your narrative by what you ask us. If you don't ever ask us the question, you can omit that even being a thing. Just like when you decide to ask us about specific things, you make it part of the storyline. So it's I think LeBron's calling out the balance of what you decide is valuable to ask me versus what you decide is not, and when you do it is valid. I think it's a valid point, Brendan.
A couple things, right? What you were just saying is like, oh, the media creates narrative. But every athlete has a direct audience to their fans because they have Instagram, they have a Twitter, they have YouTube, right? They don't necessarily need to be asked those questions to talk about them. And I think LeBron's there talking to them, trying to educate them, or at least trying to put himself in a position where hey, if you're going to ask me about this thing, ask me about all of it. But historically, he hasn't wanted to be asked those really hard questions because he's avoided them for a long time, right? So everybody throws out the thing about China, which is a really touchy subject for number one, financially for him as far as the league, but then just everything he's trying to do might get affected with that. So why would I jump into that fire when I don't have to? He wants to jump into the Jerry Jones fire because it seems like a layup when people have been asking him to shoot half court shots his whole career, right? Oh, what do you think about this, really complicated thing, right? He sees this as a layup and he wants to take it. The thing I wanted to say about what Aaron was talking about is finding people who have the knowledge base. They need to figure out how to generate an audience, right? Because at this point in our history, whoever has the biggest microphone is always going to have more influence. Now, if those people can reach out to LeBron and say, hey, this is what's really going on, if he's receptive to that, all right, cool.
They tried to. Kareem tried to. He wrote an article about it.
No, but LeBron and Kareem are not friendly to each other, though.
No,
that's been documented. It's why
there's a reason why too, and that's the reason because he's a first page accuser type person.
But you could bring up Kareem. But
he seems to be Kareem seems to be through a lot of.
But we're not talking about
hold on.
Athletes. Let's keep moving about this conversation because I want to stay on the topic because I don't want to get too. Because that's why y'all engage in the white supremacy. Y'all just want to talk about.
Why you gotta let it? Why not just say? Hold on.
I love the white.
Pedro loves the white man's methodology.
Why not? Why you gonna talk about engaging in white supremacy?
Internalizing. White
that's
supremacy.
your intellectualism getting in the way.
Look at this beautiful kid I got because of a white woman.
In other NBA news, the Royals came to visit and were courtside at the Celtics games. Did you all see that?
I ain't got no Royals. I don't worship no Warriors. I don't bow down to nobody.
Yeah,
shit.
nobody care about that shit, Jared. What are you talking about?
He did the same shit with the Queen, Darius. He did the same shit with the Queen, man. I don't bow to no man.
Nigga, I barely watch Jason Tatum, nigga. What you talking about? I'm looking for the fucking Royals. When you talking about the Royals, nigga, you must be talking about niggas from Kansas City. I don't know who you talking about.
The only Royal I'm worshiping is Queen Rogue.
Who the fuck is Queen Rogue?
Look her up.
Oh,
on a
no.
safe browser, on a safe browser, on a private browser.
Not on a work device either.
Queen Rogue and Princess Emily, the only Royals I know a private browser though.
Well, anyways, the royal family was at the game, and let's just say the Celtics staff and team were thrilled to be in their presence and have them watching them play. When asked about it after the game, interim head coach Joe Mazzulla had this to say about his adoration and thrill of seeing them at the game.
Did you get a chance to meet with the royal family? And if not, how was it like having them there in the building?
Jesus, Mary, and Joseph?
Exactly.
The Prince and Princess of Wales.
Oh, no, I did not. I'm only familiar with one royal family. I don't know too much about that one.
Exactly. That's the way I'm feeling, Jared. Dude, you having these goddamn royals. Ain't no royalty out here.
Well, anyway,
I like Joe Mazzulla a lot now after that.
He need to keep that job. Keep that job.
Oh, he keeping the job. Ain't no way they bringing what you call it back. He keeping the job.
Deion Sanders is leaving Jackson State to take over the head coaching role at the University of Colorado, Boulder. Go Buffs. What do you guys think about that?
First, I would say, did y'all watch his press conference?
Yes, I did.
And his introduction to the team.
I've never seen an introduction like that. That's opposite of most when you get a new coach.
I got the video of him talking to the team. Hold on. I got that one real quick.
And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Y'all are trash. Y'all are so trash. I want you to know that I'm talking to you, so I'm going to say your name, then I'm going to call you trash.
Now play the real video.
That's kind of sounded what it sounded like.
That's pretty much what he said. All right.
I felt uncomfortable for those kids.
Here's the actual clip of something Deion had to say to all his students or his inherited team.
We got a few positions already taken care of because I'm bringing my luggage with me. And it's Louis. Okay. It ain't gonna be no more of the mess that these wonderful fans, the student body, and some of your parents have put up with for probably 2 decades now. I'm coming. And when I get here, it's gonna be changed. So I want y'all to get ready to go ahead and jump in that portal and do whatever you're gonna get. Because the more you jump in, the more room you make. Because we bring kids that are smart, say that, smart, tough.
I'm bringing the people that ain't you.
18-year-old me would have walked out. I'm like, this nigga here, man. This dude here.
This is the opposite of Urban Meyer, right, Brandon? Shout out to, if anybody know, Brandon was being recruited by Urban Meyer. He turned out to be a great guy.
Nice dude on Fox Sports. You need to stay away from being in charge of anything. No, it's wild. I keep thinking about the kids there who decide to go to Colorado to play football. They get a new coach, and he's like, basically, y'all need to jump in that portal. At
least he being honest.
But his thing, my main thing about it is he told the kids at Jackson not to jump in the portal. Hey, y'all stay here. We're building something for Jackson. And he basically cherry picked which kids he wanted to bring with him, had private conversations, and it's like, hey, you can come with me, including his son.
Both his sons.
Which is whatever. I don't know how much Colorado football tape he's watched. I know they went 1-11, but you don't know what those kids' talent level is at this point. So for him not to even like come in there and be like, all right, cool, we're gonna do an evaluation. You can have that conversation, but but then also bring a camera in there and videotape him saying that to people, like he coming in like he just won the SEC 3 years in a row. No, he was at Jackson State in the SWAC.
Hey, it could be Brandon though. He also tested them. I see you. That's funny because you said the 18-year-old you would have locked out. The 18-year-old me would have took that as a challenge. Like I'm about to prove to him, like I ain't leaving, and he gonna play me. I'm gonna make him play. I'm gonna work so hard he can't help but play me. That's what I thought about when I saw it. Like, man, if I'm one of those kids, I'm sitting there and I'm like, all right, let the other ones with no heart run. This is where I want to be. I'm staying here.
I think that's kind of what Deion is. He's going to put it in your face. And we were talking about it last month a little bit. And like, was he getting a little too ahead of himself? Is he starting to feel himself too much? Because with the positive praise and how well the team's doing, his success, the kid's success that he's been working with, and him changing that culture and that program around, like, was he getting a little too ahead of himself and like feeling himself too much? And like, I see that in this conversation, but I also see the provoker that he is. And he talks about, having a purpose. And I think there is some good to like, what I'm saying, really pushing a kid to their limits, or someone to like the brink of being like, you have a choice. You can step over this line or you can stay here and fight. I think that's an interesting way to, evoke that out of the ones that are going to be inspired by that, or that's going to, push them to force him to play him and prove him wrong. I can see it both ways.
Can I ask why are we trying to break this down? Why you went to Colorado.
Why you go to Colorado?
Clean water and weed.
He went for 29 million reasons to go to Colorado.
That's what I was going to ask. I don't know what he signed for.
He signed for more money that the Colorado athletic director said they didn't have.
He got those funds from the weed revenue.
I think Brett Favre has a vacation home in Colorado, so that's how he got. Come on.
Here's what Rick George, the athletic director, had to say about them paying Deion. And I want you to watch this guy closely. I'm going to go full screen.
Like I said, we found the right guy.
Rick, how did you fast track the transfer rule changes, and how did you come up with enough money to get this guy?
Well, look, we don't have the money yet, but I know we'll have it. So I'm not worried about that piece.
Rick, obviously no one in this fan base needs to be sold on Deion Sanders, the personality, but what sold you on Deion Sanders, the coach, even just the recent time that made you confident he's the guy to turn this thing around?
Just his confidence and his detail.
They were so desperate for a coach and some type of change. And I don't understand why they didn't go and try to get Eric the enemy. I really don't understand that. To me, it puzzles me.
Because he don't talk good.
That is probably part of it.
He don't speak good. He don't interview good.
Yeah, 5 years, 29.5 million.
So they said they don't have the money, but they're going to figure it out as they go along. And that comes from a guy who does the thing where when you talk to him, they mouth the words you're saying.
Yeah, he was mouthing the words. That tripped me out that he was mouthing the words.
It's hard for me to trust people that do that. I'm not saying that. Like some people do that. Words? Some people do that. That's just a natural thing where they'll start like mouthing the words that you're saying as they're like part of their processing of what you're saying. But that shit's weird to me. I don't want to say weird. That's dismissive. But Deion, he leaves Jackson State after 3 seasons, after 2 SWAC titles, and after building the program to a relative prominence, probably the most notable HBCU, since I would say probably the Grambling State years with Eddie Robinson. Was Eddie Robinson was the head coach?
Yeah, Eddie Robinson. And so aside from that, I'm saying there's been a lot of, people grumbling, being like, oh, he's abandoning them, sentiments of him kind of selling out to go to Power 5. And there's other people that are, praising him for stepping up to another level based upon everything that Deion said during his time at Jackson State and how he, framed his work there. How do you guys feel about his departure? Are you guys feeling like he's abandoning HBCU or he's abandoning this school to move on to greener pastures? Or are you guys like, hey, man, that's tight that he's, maneuvered his way up or making the next step in whatever his process is? I don't feel like he abandoned them. I feel like, that's part of the process of college football. And those kids know that. They know just like they're trying to work to get to the next level, regardless of what that level is, whether it's pro football, arena league, Canadian league, whether it's a stable job, using this to go into coaching. It was more like teaching these boys to become men, and that was one of the things he focused on. Sometimes you got to take that journey. You got to step up. You step away. You leave some things to start a new chapter of life.
But who didn't see this coming? Deion likes bright lights, Hollywood. He likes to be seen. He wasn't going to be seen. He did a favor for Jackson. State or whatever the hell those niggas are. He just wanted to help out. Feel like he was doing the call, helping out a cause, uplift some HBCUs, get them seen, get them noticed, and he used the celebrity to do that. So he did his job. Everybody knew he was going to lead for a beautiful, whiter country or brighter lights. It's just like the process when I date a woman. I had a woman my skin color. She was dark, down in the dumps at Watts. Make a little bit more money. I dumped her and got with a lighter woman. Dumped her and got with a white woman.
Tell me.
Same thing going on.
You didn't just say that.
Moral of the story is you ain't right until you get white.
But it's levels to this, is what it is.
Levels, baby. You getting that white woman money.
Getting that white woman money. So.
It ain't right. You gotta go light.
Oh man. Now I will say it depends on how you feel about work, right? Like that was his job. Like they hired him to coach football. He coached football. He left, right? But the thing about HBCUs, like there's a culture around HBCUs that is very distinct than any other college he could have went to. Because he could have did the same thing if he went to, Appalachian State. He could have did the same thing if he went to, Wyoming or somewhere like that to coach football. The problem is none of those places was going to give him a job because he didn't want to be an assistant anywhere. Because that was his big thing why he started that prime school in Texas. Because he wanted to he's like, oh, I want to be a coach. So I'm going to start this charter school. I'm starting this high school and be the coach or whatever. That didn't work out. And he was like, no, I don't want to be assistant anywhere. I want that. I remember saying, I want that Avery Johnson treatment when Avery Johnson was the coach of the Spurs, never was an assistant, just got the head coaching job. There's no Division I school that was going to do that for him. Like, oh, we're going to hire somebody with no coaching experience, no contact for assistant head coaches to become our head coach. Like everybody would just laugh at us. And you're black.
I Googled you.
So Jackson State was literally like one of the HBCU was the only ones to really embrace him. Like, all right, cool. Like you can come coach the team, and was really successful, right? Like with anything in sports, right? The better you play, the more beholden the fan base wants you to be to them. You feel me? And that's with anything, right? You're amazing at your job. Oh man, the people who are at your job like, man, you the MVP around here. Please don't leave us. The same thing with any NBA player, right? Like if you're Steph Curry says like, I want to go play for OKC now. Like people are like, oh, Steph, you're turning your back on us. We need you. We love you. But at the same time, if he went, 0-12, they'd be the first ones to say, get the fuck out of here. So I mean, that's just part of the sports landscape. But yeah, man, I think he used a stepping stone. Some people saw it coming, some people didn't see it coming, some people thought he might stick around longer than he did. But like I said, at the end of the day, like the question is like, what else could he do? Like what else was he supposed to stay there?
He was supposed to wait a couple more years so he could take on Alabama. He's like, give me 3 years, give me 3-4 years. But I was one of those people who thought he might stay a little longer than he did. I started hearing people saying, oh man, he's probably gonna take one of these jobs, and it was Colorado and one other school I kept hearing mainly.
So it was South Florida.
Okay, South Florida, Colorado,
and Cincinnati.
Yeah, so I heard that like this past week, but it was like murmurs and there wasn't anything real defined about it. But it seemed like I was like, man, he could stay at Jackson State another year or two, right? And see this class through if he wanted to. But at the same time, like I was like, if I'm going off of old Dion, I would say he's gonna definitely be gone. But I was like, if I'm going off the Coach Prime, and like what I think was unique about his coaching style was like is the inspirational speeches, his way of bringing in different people that he had connections with. He brought in Brittany Renner. He's like really cultivating and helping teach these guys like you are a celebrity, or you're gonna be you find success, you're gonna be treated as a celebrity. You guys, this is how you navigate this world. Pouring himself into these kids and helping them become knowledgeable men. And so you don't see that necessarily with coaches. And that was something I think that made you feel like, oh, he might stay there for a while, stay longer. And so, I was, maybe fooled by that a little bit, or hopeful.
I don't know why you was fooled by that, Jared.
Well, because I think
Pedro's called you stupid, man.
Yeah, probably. That's why I said if I was going off old Dion, I would say he's gonna go when the next best situation pops up. But at the same time, I'm like, this new Dion that I'm seeing, and like him being a coach that was much different in how you perceive him than any other big time coach.
No. When you see a Negro doing an Aflac commercial, still doing the Dion shuffle in the big ass chain, there is no new Dion. He's still prime time.
But I do think it's fair. I saw a couple people posting. Gary Chambers Jr., Louisiana representative, was saying like, saying it doesn't have to be that he's selling out. It's that he set a personal goal and he's achieving, and we're seeing him flourish in his path, more or less saying like this is his journey. And like, yeah, he means a lot to these other people, but he's doing it, the right way, and he's achieving his goals, and he's setting an example of what other people can do, not just like he's abandoning us, and called out like the need for, so HBCUs and their governing bodies and administrations to do a better job of, like he set a standard that like people, these other programs and these other, colleges can strive for.
Jared, I loved all your big words. Mississippi don't have no clean water.
Damn it, nigga.
That's why he left. Brett Favre took all the money.
Yeah, fuck Brett Favre, by the way, guys. Let's refresh that. Brett Favre is the worst thing to happen in Jackson, Mississippi. Or Mississippi in general. Let's get to Cutty Corner Shoutouts. Cutty Corner Shoutouts. Cutty Corner Shoutouts. Cutty Corner Shoutouts is the same with the end the show on, where everyone gets a chance to rank, plan, or talk about something that's pissing them off in the world. Or you can highlight something positive in the world. Cutty Corner Shoutouts. Cutty Corner Shoutouts.
It's time. We're burning now. God, if you let it in, hell. So cold and bleeding now. I'm in for it, man. Gonna let you down. He had sex with my mama. We're broken people now. Doctor said I need a back.
Aaron, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
I do. I like to give positive Cutty Corner shout out in remembrance of Ronaldo in World Cups years past. One of the first World Cups I watched, the Brazilian Ronaldo just dominate, even though he had that shitty ass haircut. Remember, he only had the front cut and all the rest was shaved off. The man dominated. He showed you could look stupid and have a big ass Michael Strahan gap in your teeth and dominate. But no, my Cutty Corner shout out this week goes out to Quentin Tarantino and Martin Scorsese. Go ahead and give me a cut. Go ahead and give me a magic moment. You could do it now. You could do it later in post. It don't matter. I'm going to keep saying his name wrong about 5 times. So just do it in post. You can put it in. I don't know when the fuck you're going to do it. Martin Scorsese, whatever the fucking name is, and Quentin Tarantino. They were bitching about Marvel and Disney movies this past week, talking about how they're not real movies. They're just comic books on screen. They're just action commercials, just toy commercials. They were just really doing some really disrespectful, hating shit. Simu Louis from the guy that played Shang-Chi, the star, he came out. I like his snapback. He basically talked about them and saying that if it wasn't for Disney and Marvel, I wouldn't have had a chance to leave an all-Asian cast and be a superstar, right? And be a headliner and the star of an all-Asian cast in a big blockbuster. And I started, really internalizing. And I like both of their movies, Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino. But the dude is right. They're talking about like, I'm not saying, and then they tried to backtrack and they're like, we're not saying they're all bad. I mean, if I was a kid and it was out, I would really love them. I would enjoy them. But the movie making, the things that really produce real movies, like it's just not there where we did real movies and people doing this and that. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck both of them. Fuck both of them. And that's right. I said it, Brennan. I said, if it was for them, we wouldn't have minority characters. Think about every movie they had. If it wasn't for Disney or Marvel and not like people like those two, we wouldn't have an all-black cast or a movie that broke the record of most minorities in a movie, which was Black Panther 2, because it had Latin and Africans and African Americans all in one fucking movie playing as the main characters, heroes, villains, all of it.
There's enough niggas in here to make a Tarzan movie.
Leave it up to them. We wouldn't have people like Jen Walters being She-Hulk or Black Captain America. No, well, if it wasn't for those two, we'll be stuck with Nicolas Cage acting horrible in the movie, Jack Nicholas playing the same fucking character, whether he's going from One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest to the Joker or to what was the other fucking movie, As Good as It Gets. He played the same fucking character, same looks in all of them. We'll be stuck with Quentin Tarantino writing the same movies and putting himself in the movie just so he could keep constantly saying the N-word.
He says it every morning. He calls me nigga. He calls the other kids nigga. He calls himself nigga all the time. Nigga this, nigga that, nigga please.
And you know what I say, Brandon? I say, fuck both of them. Fuck both of them. Stop acting like Disney.
I'm starting to feel this is directed towards me.
It isn't, but I just want you to know, in case somebody asks you, you say Aaron Grayson said fuck both of them, right? They ain't shit. If it wasn't for them, I'll be stuck with movies with all white cast. We wouldn't see people that look like us, people that look like friends of ours, people that look like our kids or anything like that. We wouldn't see it if it wasn't for them. And you tell them this, Brandon, if you get a chance, because I say you because you might get a chance to talk to them one day. Tell them stop calling out Disney, stop calling out Marvel. If they got a problem, tell them to come to me. You tell them to come to me. Because you know what? Like Jerry Jones, I too was photographed standing by the front door with a couple of coons coming in. Except different from Jerry Jones, I kept the coons from coming in the front door. I kept them from coming in the back door.
They called me a coon the other day, and people think that is a bad term. That's the guys on front of the country. If you know anything about a coon, you're one of the smartest animals out there.
And you tell them that. Fuck Scorsese, fuck Quentin Tarantino, and I like both their movies, but fuck them. Just because you keep putting yourself in the movie so you can say the N-word, just because Scorsese put in the movie so he can make sure every Italian he know in it, and do Francis Ford Coppola a favor and put ugly ass Sophia for Coppola in the movie, where she playing the guy that's fucking her cousin. Right? And I was oh man, thank you, man. Thank you. No, you know what Disney gave us? It gave us diverse cast. You know what those who's gave us? Nepotism.
Yeah! And that nigga owe me $5.
Pietro, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
No, I'm just gonna give a positive Cutty Corner shout out. It was a good weekend last Thanksgiving. And then last weekend, I mean, one thing bad about my bad Cutty Corner shout out goes out to that dry turkey. Yeah, women.
And there's an issue Crash Bandicoot.
Nothing
I
else.
did not know what
That's
to
all.
do.
Oh man,
Like
hey,
you
I think
play Crash Bandicoot.
Hey, that sounds more interesting than anything Jared said all day.
Wise words from Pedro's daycare.
Exactly.
Crash Bandicoot 4.
That kid ain't saying Crash Bandicoot is a victim of white supremacy.
Brandon, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
Oh yeah, my Cutty Corner shout out goes out to the internet. I realize this happens more and more often, but you ever like just refuse to engage in something based on internet opinion about it? Like,
yes,
you write out like you just don't watch a movie. Too many people told you got to see it. You just like, yo, fuck that movie.
Yep, Bird
or too many people you gotta listen to the shit. You know, fuck it. And I feel like I gotta stay off of Twitter and off these internet streets when I'm not working, because I feel like the list has grown of shit I probably should check out that I would probably like if I just discovered it on my own. But the fact that other people have hyped it up so much, I'm just like, you know, fuck it, I'm not even gonna watch it. One of those things is Black Panther 2. Like, I was excited to go see it. I was like, all right, I'm gonna try to go see this in the theaters, you know, support Hollywood making more Black or African American centric movies.
The real woman king, by the way.
Come on.
But then you go on Twitter, man, you act like this, some epic that, just changes Black cultures, just moves the needle. And I'm like, all right, you know what? That's a little too much. And I saw that way too much, all these think pieces that get generated by it. And I was like, you know what? I'm never going to see this fucking movie.
Disney Plus, Brandon, Disney Plus.
The same thing happened with Kendrick Lamar's album. The reason why Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole's last albums, I was like, I'm going to find some time to really listen to this. And at some point, I heard enough people talk about the shit that I was like, you know what? This ain't for me. I'm not even gonna do it. So my Cutty Corner shout goes out to me and my internet habits destroying things that I would otherwise probably really enjoy.
Darius, do you have a Cutty Corner shout out?
I got a mini Cutty Corner shout out, then a real Cutty Corner shout out. My first mini Cutty Corner shout out is gonna go to Pietro. For dissing the Kendrick Lamar album right now. I will just lightly defend it and say, nigga, please. It is a great album. And
you don't know music.
Hey, okay, first of all, I just want to let you know that Pedro's last favorite album wasn't the album. It was just 7 niggas singing songs on a chain gang. Old ass nigga. Just because you architect the Freedom Rider song, nigga, Sorry, my fault. My real Cutty Quarter shout out this week actually goes to me this week, kind of in the same vein as Brandon, but also on brand. It is because I have spewed so much hatred towards Jared that my back has went out. That has never happened to me. My back has went out, but I've not blown my own back out. That is a new thing that I've just experienced.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
This week I've been dealing with a lot of turmoil and repercussions, and there's a lot of backlash coming from our fantasy basketball league. Over the course of about a month, there's been a lot of fuck things that have happened to my own volition, I will say. I will not blame this on anybody else. And one thing that I learned about Jared, folks, Jared can play with you, but you cannot play with Jared because he does not give a fuck. And it was a great lesson that I learned. I brought in our whole basketball community into this argument, seeking validators, seeking folks who would actually understand where Jared was coming from because I was so lost. And I realized that I needed to look within to find a better solution. Since then, me and Jared have talked, but I am pretty sorry about how everything has transpired and did transpire over the week and a half that everything went down. That is totally my fault. I'm sorry to my league fellow members. And I bet Jared, hearing all these apologies, has a boner right now.
All my leg. Oh, I got a cramp. I got to stand up. I got a cramp in my leg. I appreciate that Cutty Corner shout out, Darius. That was good. That's good. Let me think about something that is not going to turn me on.
Of course, the narcissism would say that Cutty Corner shout out was good.
All right, Darius, I got a question, man. And cough twice if you okay. I feel like the last 3 times we've both been on the podcast, you've apologized to Jared, and I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing to you.
Well, I will say this, Brendan. What you're not seeing on the back end of this is 6 days out of the week of me spewing absolute hatred towards him. So at first we were just meeting up on these phone calls once a week to go over the podcast. But what you're not seeing is I spent the rest of those days berating him, calling him names that are wildly out of pocket, to the point where my wife said, "Are you a Satanist or a homophobe? I don't know which one." I'm confused because of all the things you're talking about your friend. So I will say I've been wildly out of pocket, Brandon, and I have to now having this back injury, I realize I have to take care of myself and stop hating.
God, if you listen, hell.
Well, I hope your back heals up, Darius.
Nigga, we know you don't care. Please do not send apologies.
My Cutty Corner shout out goes out to the NFL and VAR in the FIFA World Cup. The NFL and VAR are making it too hard for me to know what is an onside play, what is not an onside play, when is it arbitrarily offside so that we can stop a goal from happening, because motherfuckers are going back and looking and seeing motherfuckers offside by the skin on their goddamn teeth and being like, offsides, goal doesn't count on this amazing play. Way too often now. It's like, man, every time there's a goal, you're waiting for them to say offsides. It was crazy, especially during group play. I was like, man, I don't even know what constitutes somebody being offside, because sometimes there's a dude obviously outside, but he didn't have effect on the play. They don't call it. But then there's other times where he had maybe an influence on the play, so then they can call it. It's like, man, if he's outside, just call it. Just black and white. Don't make it subjective, because now you're confusing me. Same thing with these goddamn catch rules. The NFL has had several catches on Thanksgiving night. The tight end for Minnesota caught the ball, fell in the end zone, broke plane to the goal line, but because he's falling to the ground, they said he has to maintain control throughout the play. His hand hits the ground, the ball jostles around, the ball doesn't ever touch the ground again or anything, and he falls over and still holds onto the ball, but they said incomplete pass because he bobbled it. Motherfuckers, get your shit straight. What is a catch and what is not a catch? You can't have all these little caveat rules that when you slow it down microseconds at a time, you see something move a little bit, whether it hits the ground or not, whether he's down by contact at that point or not, it gets negligible because all of a sudden this broke-ass clause of through the continuation to the ground, whatever the fuck they say, is making it confusing. VAR and catch rules in NFL, get your shit straight, because you're making the game hard to watch. You're making people sit there holding their breath way more than they need to. And that's probably what y'all like anyway, so y'all some sadistic fucks. My last Cutty Coda shout out goes up to U.S. national team fans. Y'all are some of the wackest, most poo butt ass motherfucking fans I've ever heard in my life. It's embarrassing to have y'all over in Qatar. I'd rather have the motherfuckers playing the Bollywood jingles and whatnot instead of y'all, because y'all have some whack ass chants. Okay, it's called soccer. It's called soccer. Like, could you imagine? Like, I don't get it. Why are you out there having these whack ass chants? The worst one, I woke up at 7 in the morning yesterday, and I got immediately pissed off when I heard them singing a goddamn kiddie-ass, kindergarten-ass, preschool-ass, 5-year-old summer camp-ass song on the goddamn sidelines, chanting, everywhere we go, people want to know who we are, so we tell them we are the U.S., the mighty, mighty U.S. Now, that song is sung by many of summer camps and many of people with kids walking in a line to keep them in order and hopefully making sure that you distract them with the fucking stupid ass song so they stay in line and don't wander in the goddamn middle of the street, right? You don't do that at a goddamn World Cup. You don't do that at an international tournament where you represent your goddamn country. Don't nobody give a fuck who y'all are. Yeah, they see y'all Americans because y'all got good credit and y'all can come in here and your embassy is probably going to do better for you than some of these other countries. And you're all some obese cracker-ass crackers. And they didn't impersonate no Americans because they knew Americans had enough money to get their asses over there. They didn't have to pay nobody to wear an American jersey that was from Sri Lanka. Okay? So, yes, everyone knows who we are already. We don't need to sing a goddamn kindergarten preschool-ass song about it and try and make it into a soccer chant. It's embarrassing.
That's your intellectualism getting in the way.
It's not intellectualism. It's me just saying
you're trying
right
to
here.
say, you're trying to come out here and say we're embracing white supremacy when it's been when you're talking about me and Pedro. We grew up in the hood. We've been hood. Right. We've been nothing but hood.
It don't matter. White supremacy expresses itself in all different hoods. Families. That's the point.
We got
white supremacy owns your hood. That's the point.
No black person, no white person owned our hood. Our hood got burnt the fuck up. We went through the gang violence of LA.
It can be that, but it can also.
We weren't embracing no white supremacy there.
If you want to say, I didn't say embrace. I said internalize. Internalize is different than embracing it. Internalization versus embracing.
Internalize shit.
We've internalized all forms of racism against ourselves and that are against others.
No white supremacy though. That's what I'm saying. You coming out of left field with that.
See, you too vehemently denying instead of thinking about the fact that you are using the white man's tactic to vilify the messenger about a point that I think is valid. The point is valid. The point is valid.
I said the double standard point is valid.
He's calling into question an issue. Standard. And if LeBron isn't the biggest most accessible person
are
in
we talking
sports as an athlete.
This how I felt about what he said. That's not embracing white supremacy. I told you how I felt now.
And then you went on the diatribe about what he
ain't never been one to call
started going off on him instead of talking about the issue.
You doing the same shit by saying I'm embracing white supremacy.
Well, no, I'm doing that to counteract.
As a black man, you should never call out another black man. I'll be real. You know what?
You can't call it. Wait, hold on, Aaron, nigga. You call out niggas every goddamn day, nigga. What are you talking about?
Not for not being a nigga. I don't never call out a nigga for not being a nigga. I'll call you out for being a nigga.
You said Drake deserves to have his black card revoked.
No, Drake is supposed to have his life revoked.
Canadians is soft and don't got a brother card.
They don't have one, and I agree. I stand by that shit. I'm talking about black men here in America. You know what, Jared? For you, selling out me and Pedro calling us white supremacists and saying that we destroy the race, Snow Bunny Jared, you
did not say destroying the race.
Snow Bunny Shannon Sharp, you're the biggest and strongest of everybody on the list, so I'm going to have to sentence you for 10,000 lashes for conduct unbecoming a black man and saying that no black woman can make you happy. 10,000 lashes for Snow Bunny Shannon Sharp.
Come on, this nigga put out a belt like Dr. Umar.
20 lashes, Jared. 20 lashes.
So you getting played by pumpkin pie Jerry, man. You better watch out here.
This is woke Jared coming across right now. Y'all better recognize.
You get 20 lashes. Nobody calling us out.
No, what I'm saying though is that I don't want it to get so caught up on arguing like that it's LeBron. Like, I think LeBron brought up a valid point. That's all I'm getting at. I think he brought up a valid point that isn't about the Jerry Jones thing. I think it's about the double standard that these athletes are asked questions about things when they want to ask them questions about it, but then they don't ask the question. So it's like, it's putting the stimulus out there. They control what the stimulus is, what the question is going to be, unless the player has a specific directive of what they want to say in that moment. And a lot of times they're tired, or they aren't the most woke motherfuckers. Their life is caught up with marketing, basketball, whatever sport they're doing, meetings, everything that goes around with that. And they don't have the time to be as well informed necessarily, because that's not what they professionally do. And so, yeah, I get that. I'm just saying is I appreciate him for at least.
You can still inform yourself. If you're gonna try to inform yourself, you can inform. They got time. A basketball player now, Jared, don't give me no bullshit talking about they ain't got no time to inform themselves.
No, that's why.
Don't give me no bullshit.
That's why I appreciate. No, I'm not giving you bullshit. I'm saying is that I said most of these guys, they like, and that's it's a bigger issue within society is now. It's like, what is your activism? How are you being somebody who is creating an improvement for the society around you, or are you being an activist, or just taking part in the benefits of activism? And so there's a pro idea of being an activist and being an activist in your own way, right? And one of the main ways you can do that is through your money and where you put your money and where you put your energy. With that, like, you got a lot of people who are being asked questions about activist type shit, and especially in this climate. And so I think that's important for us to like understand like how these different lenses and layers are being placed upon us that are then shaping our perspective on what true activism is, or what it means to actually, you know what I'm saying, deal with some of these social issues when it's only being dealt with on a very, you know what I'm saying, surface level. That's why I was so mad in 2020 when they came back to play. And I was like, I didn't want them to come back to play. You know what I'm saying? They got some good stuff done, but it wasn't as deep rooted as I thought they could have really pulled it out to be. So I'm just saying, LeBron, yes, not as woke as he wants to portray himself to be, and not as big an activist as he wants to portray himself out to be. But the least he can do is at least speak some of this stuff into existence, or being thought about. And in that way, I give him a little bit of credit for at least asking that question and leaving it at that, as something to kind of just shake up the framework by which those media members were coming at their job. Granted, they're NBA media members, so they're not going to ask you the hard-hitting questions. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah. Anyways, in other news,